Rohan's Corner, working overtime, recording fine, that's just prime. Super reviews, which will neutralize Hasbro's wave of crimes. Magic Square to the rescue, and New Age has got such super paintwork. Rohan is the mighty power that can save the day. Rohan, no one knows what lies behind his wall of fame. Rohan, always riding hard on Hasbro's trail. Come see the memes he plays every Friday. Well, it's been a tumultuous week this week, not least with Hasbro reporting its Q3 earnings as a 5-year low, the worst they've done in some time. And that's before we even start to talk about the pork markets, which I think has probably been covered by Paul and the rest of the guys on the show. But specifically with regards to Hasbro, I wanted to talk about some of the history of the company, where it's been, where it's gone, where it's come from, where it's going, but how that relates to how they're doing in terms of sales. And those who don't know, you probably all know by now, I obviously worked for Hasbro between 2005 and 2008. And when I joined the company, it was being run by the CEO, Alan Hassenfeld, one of the last remaining remnants of the Hassenfeld family who created the Hasbro business. And for those of you who don't know, Hasbro was created by two brothers, the Hassenfeld brothers, who actually together became Hasbro, hence the name Hassenfeld Bro, because they were bros, right? And it started off as a textile remnants company doing pencil cases and all other sorts of bits and pieces in the 20s and 30s. But eventually in the 1950s, they bought the license for Mr. Potato Head and started branching out into toys, and were eventually in the 60s asked to go and build a toy based on a lieutenant type soldier, which would give birth to G.I. Joe and Action Man further down the line. And of course, push into the 1980s, when the Hassenfeld family, Alan Hassenfeld, the guy who was running the company when I actually joined in 2005, in 1984 was the president, or the second most senior position in the company in those days, and was basically given the task of expanding the company worldwide and taking in new ideas. And if we think about what new big idea came out in 1984, well, it was from the international realms that Japan brought out, obviously their Diaclone and microchange lines. Hasbro representatives went over there, took the idea and made it into Transformers, and here we are today. So for me, when I got into Hasbro in 2005, to have Alan Hassenfeld still there was pretty cool. Unfortunately, he retired down in 2007 and was replaced by Brian Goldner, the first non-affiliated family member of the Hassenfeld crew to be appointed as the leader of Hasbro. And his reign continued for many, many years up until very recently, when unfortunately he passed away from prostate cancer and was replaced by Chris Cox. And Chris Cox, maybe we can see some reflection in what's going on in UK politics right now with his reign at Hasbro, because not only has he changed the pricing strategy to make it all inflate the prices really high, hope that all these loyal customers will buy, and then when they don't, set up these big promotions and discounts to reduce prices down. We can see it with so many examples going on at the moment. Those of you who've been lucky enough to go out and find G2 Laser Prime from the Legacy line at TK Maxx for £20, you know, that's a steal. Even for me, I would say that's below what I would expect retail value to be. And you know how much of a hard ass I am on pricing, especially when it comes to Hasbro. I don't hold any punches, but at the same time, I do have a soft spot for Hasbro in my heart. Obviously, this is where Transformers came from. Without them, they would not exist. And also, they continue to bolster the line and continue to build into the golden age. Because, let's face it, right now, from about the beginning of War for Cybertron to where we are today, still the golden age, in my opinion. And what will happen with Cox and his ideas if they continue to flourish in terms of this pricing strategy? Will we see the end of the Transformers golden age? Will we actually see Hasbro continuing on this downturn for the future? And let me take you back to 2007. when I was a spotty-faced little kid working at Hasbro's IT department, I had this brilliant idea that I should buy shares in Hasbro, and I got super close to doing it as well. The only thing that stopped me was the fact that I had to buy international shares off the Nasdaq, and you required extra paperwork and had to buy through an approved buyer and all this kind of nonsense. And eventually I didn't. But actually, that would have been a great time to buy them, because after that, Hasbro started taking on these entertainment media companies in the likes of Transformers the movie, and then they did their own film series and all of the film series that came out therefore from Transformers, and their partnerships with media companies as well. However, none of those seem to be flourishing right now either. So the question is, where are Hasbro going? Will we still have Transformers in 10, 15 years' time? Well, I mean, obviously we all hope so, otherwise we wouldn't be Transformers fans. And yes, of course, there is a huge third-party base now for figures that we can buy from, which are in many ways better than the ones that Hasbro come out with, if not always better, sometimes cheaper, if not always cheaper, sometimes much more engineered. And we've talked about this topic many, many times, but ultimately, Hasbro are the core of Transformers. They will continue to create Transformers lore, and it will be what is called canon. And ultimately, 3P can't do that. They can try and bring out their own figures, they can try and bring out their own repaints, they can try and bring out their own media, who knows? But will it be canon? So I don't agree with Hasbro, Mr. Cox's new pricing strategy. Let's pump the prices up, hope people buy, and then eventually when they come down, they'll go away. We've seen this from other companies on the market. You just have to look back at insurance companies who were ransacking their loyal customers by really jacking the prices up and hoping that they'd stay, or companies like utility companies, Virgin Media and Sky, who each year, oh yeah, your price is going up, Mr. Customer. Oh wait, you want to leave? Okay, we'll bring it down half the price. Okay, you're definitely leaving? Okay, we'll knock another 10 quid off a month. Right. And at the same time, while it really pleases me to see things like Legacy G2 Laser Prime and TK Maxx for 20 quid, and Legacy Blitzwing in game for 35 quid, getting hold of those figures is not easy. Not all of us can get a hold of them. Even though TK Maxx had them on their website, they sold out super fast, and scalpers are well aware of these good prices out there. So why not just make the price a decent price in the first place, put it at 35, 40 pounds for a leader. People will buy them in the first place. They won't have to go through liquidation. Hasbro won't have to take stock back and reallocate it to, these discount places like B&M and TK Maxx and Bargain Max and whatever else name you can come up with. Who cares? Just put the pricing strategy right in the first place. If they're really saying that they need to hit £55 price point for leader class, then I disagree. I don't think it's possible that all the prices are really what they say they are. And we just have to look at Takara's pricing in Japan, or look at Legacy Metroplex, who over there had a retail price of $99 and has been discounted 30% there, down to $60 odd. Wow. I mean, leaders, okay, fair enough. They start at $55 over there and again get discounted just like over here. But that makes me think, hang on a minute, are those prices also overinflated? And yes, of course, we have inflation going on in the world. The prices of things has gone up, and also there is a war on Ukraine, and also there is whatever else going on in the world. There's a fuel crisis, there's this, there's that, there's the political crisis. Of course, there are going to be things that are going to drive prices up. But have they been driven up too far? Have Hasbro been playing games with us? And if we look at some of the 3P manufacturers, and I know I talk about them all the time, but Magic Square have done it again. They are starting what they call a C2M campaign, which is customer to manufacturer campaign, where they have started a poll up on their Facebook page to ask customers, loyal customers, do you want to have a reissue of XYZ character, in specifically talking about their Soundwave. If they get enough backing, they're going to do it. And that is the way it should be. And, HasLab is that to an extent, but I think it's also a money-making scheme, because they are preying upon the limited quantity of figures to inflate the price, to reduce the number of buyers, to inflate the secondary market value, to increase sustainability in their future products. And we're seeing it every day. And they're trying to play on the community by bringing these broadcasts in so that we all get on board, all egg each other on, and buy more Transformers that we didn't really want or need. We like the look of them. Would they fit in the collection? Probably. Do you really need them? I don't know. Anywho, for another week, it's been Rohan on Rohan's Corner. I hope you have enjoyed. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Write into Transformers the Show and let the boys know. Back to the studio.
Transformers, Rohan's in disguise.